Yaesu's released a brand new dual-band mobile radio that they've dubbed the FTM 6000r. And I interviewed John Kruk, the U.S. Regional Sales Manager from Yaesu USA, to talk about this radio. But there was a live stream. It was about an hour long. So I took the meat of the information about this brand new radio out of this live stream, repurposed it into this video so that it's shorter and better information for you, the viewer. Check this out, and thanks for watching. Let's show everybody that. That's the new FTM 6000. I haven't even opened this yet. So I want to go ahead and do that real quick, and maybe you can kind of walk us through what's going to be in the box here. I got to get my angle right on this camera.
Well, I'm going to first tell you, it's like, remember when you were in school and you got a new book, like a new textbook, and you opened up the textbook? That's how you got to do every single radio when you get, just like that.
Right.
So,
right.
So
Yes.
you're gonna
Absolutely.
you're gonna find actually a lot of similarity in what's in the box and the setup and overall setup, like the FTM 300 on there.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is you're gonna see the microphone here. So I have the microphone that's actually for the 6000, which is the new SSM 85D. So it's the new one that's kind of replacing the old one, which of course is attached to all my other radios. But so you're gonna find this microphone, and I'll be honest with you, I know microphone's a little bit of a thing here, but I so like this new design so much. Main thing, just because of the mute button on there, that's nice to me. But you're gonna find that. You're gonna find obviously the drawer unit, or the main body radio body of the unit. Of course, I have mine set up here because actually you called me when I was actually working on doing our videos. So we're gonna be doing a what is part of our YES network, our Yaesu Education System Network.
Right.
We're actually going to be doing a user training on there. It's going to be coming up here. We'll get the class information out, but it's going to be probably maybe in the next couple weeks, where we do a webinar that people can hop in, see it, ask questions, go through the whole thing there, so they don't have any questions on like, hey, how do you operate it, those kind of things there. But you're going to see... and it might actually just be better with yours because mine's all attached over here. But you're going to see a lot of standard stuff. So the radio body has the new slide lock on there, like the 300 has. So what really makes that nice is you can really kind of mount the radio wherever you want and slide it in and out. As a matter of fact, in my shack here, I was actually looking at kind of like, how can I make this portable between my vehicles when I do field videos and stuff like that. This really slide lock makes it a heck of a lot simpler, a lot nicer, a lot neater, just to lock it in place. So you're going to get obviously the operating manual there. It's our standard operating manual. And I guess, a lot of people say, well, why do you have so many different manuals on there? Well, we give you the operating manual because that's what you need right now to get up and running. Just flip through there. We'll tell you the basic things you need. More advanced stuff, that's what our advanced manuals are for online on there. So, a lot of functionality is very similar on there. I know a lot of people, whenever I get a new radio, we have to demo it and stuff, even as, the position I am, I don't even bother to go ahead and open the manual. I try to say like, hey, how is it easy to operate? How is it this? Trying to put the mindset of the customer in mind, saying, you know what, if I'm not going to read the manual, how easy is it going to be? Is there going to be pitfalls? Is there going to be things that people are going to have questions on that we just need to get them over? But
there's a lot of videos that I do that on, and people come by, and sure enough, every time at least one or two Yahoos come by the channel and they say, why don't you read the manual, RTFM and all that stuff. And I'm like, the manual for me is a fallback tool. Yep. I want to know how intuitive the radio, and part of the reason I do the video, in all reality, part of the reason I do the video is I want to know how intuitive the radio is, especially since, as Ray from ICOM says, I'm a DMR guy. I'm the DMR guy, which is not untrue. It's just, and especially with DMR radios, I mean, you got to be, some of them are very not intuitive, and some of them are kind of a little bit more intuitive, but you got to really know what you're doing on some of these DMR radios. So I want to know, can I take the radio out of the box, turn it on, and actually make it work without reading the manual every time? So I hear what you're saying there, and that's kind of my line of thinking as well.
Well, and to further talk on there, when I do a lot with the Aries or AC side as being an EC and stuff, that's what it is because, it's never going to fail when you're out in a disaster, when you're out in an emergency.
Right.
You're not going to have the manual with you. You know what I mean? And
some
people do. Some people are like that, but For me, it's not. So that's what I kind of do on there. But as you kind of saw, the kit comes with the separation head. So on mine here, I'll kind of show you kind of the camera. I'm running mine in a separated head on there. I use the suction cup mount that you can use what you see on the screen there, which is kind of that T mount. The reason I like to use the suction cup mount, which attaches right to the back of the control head, is because then I can kind of move it if I need to around on there. Sometimes if I'm by myself in the car, I actually like it, even with the 891, everything, that's the same kind of suction cup mount that works. I like it in the upper left-hand corner because if I do have to look at the radio, I'm just diverting my eyes up in a little bit, but I still have my peripheral vision on there. So that's why I like there. But otherwise, it comes with the T-bracket, comes with the short cable, and it comes with the remote head cable.
Right. Yeah, that's what this is here. So comes with the my FT8900 that I bought brand new way back when came with both of those, and I still got them somewhere. But,
and actually, it's funny that you said that because that was initially when the 8800 and the 7800, the 7900, and the 8900 first came out. There was no extension cable kits with it. You had to buy that extra extension cable kit, but now we kind of started to include that with it as a standard out there. So you have both on there. You're going to notice kind of what you showed with the microphone on there. The microphone does plug in to the front of the radio. So it's not into the control head there. However, it is a standard 6-pin connector. It's the same type of microphone that we use. And a lot of people, and we do sell an extension kit on there if you need it directly from us. I know some people have bought, just a 6-pin coupler. Hey, it is what it is, however you want to do that. Our nice thing about their new MEK, was it MEK2, I think it is, on there, you do have kind of that double feed out on there. So you can have like 2 ports for feeding in a microphone on there.
Gotcha. Yeah. I know we talked about that a little bit when we did the initial kind of announcement of this on this channel, and I was surprised to learn, because I've always thought it was kind of, I don't want to use the word lame. I always thought it was kind of odd that a lot of these manufacturers don't put the mic connector on the face of the radio when you're including a separation kit with the radio. I always thought that was a little bit strange, but I found it odd that, or I found it surprising. I put it that way. Surprising that you say that you got feedback from people who actually didn't like that, and say they thought it looked like an 11-meter setup or something. And I don't get that. I don't get that at all. But I mean, everybody's got a different opinion, and it's all good. But I thought that was strange.
But don't worry, it's not an issue on here, because I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't say that, yes, you can get the BU4 unit, which is the Bluetooth unit, which allows you to actually install the board into the radio, and then it allows you to actually use a Bluetooth headset with it also.
Good. Yeah, I noticed the manual had a Bluetooth symbol on it, and I was going to ask you about that, and then I got sidetracked. But yeah, so Bluetooth capable. It doesn't come with Bluetooth. Is that correct?
Correct. You have to buy the additional Bluetooth board, and I believe the model part number is a BU-4. It's not the same as the BU2, like in the 300 and the 100. It is a different board.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good deal. I forgot up front. Hey, T-Man, KI5BEZ, welcome to the YouTube channel membership. Special shout out to all my YouTube channel members out there today. Those are the guys in green with the special symbol to the right of their name. Appreciate you guys supporting the channel. And once again, thanks for being here for this unscheduled live stream. So I'm going to put this together. Okay, now explain this. Now, I know what this is. This is different. This is a very different kind of mounting bracket, because it slides on to the radio. It's got this little lever right here that you might not be able to see. It's got let me see if I can get it in the right light. This lever, this thing here is a lever that you can push down like that.
Correct.
That moves, and it just kind of snaps in. There's another model, and that kind of holds it there. So it doesn't screw into the side of the radio. It snaps in. Is it the 300 that does that as well?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, that's the one I'm thinking of.
And we got so many people that said, with the 300, it was about time that you guys did that, because it never fails. You mount it underneath the seat, you mount it somewhere, especially when the remote head configuration. It's like you're trying to get the little screws in there, you drop them, all that stuff. So we did that with the 300, and we just continued it on with the 6000.
I like it. It's definitely a convenient way to mount it, especially if you're going to use it for, to take in and out some. To do whatever. Okay, there's your data port right there. So it's a little bit different connection than I was thinking it would be. I was thinking it would be like a DB25, but it's the round modular. What's the name of that plug there?
We call it the 10-pin mini DIN for sake of a better term.
Okay.
And the nice part about it with that pin is that pins 1 through 6 are the same pinout configurations as a 6-pin packet data pin. Okay, so they match pin for pin. 7, 8, 9, and 10 are used for some other control things that are out there. But if you want to build, like I heard you say about the All-Star node, because that's what I did with my FTM 400 and 100. I've even done with the 300 a little bit. You can go ahead and get that 10-pin cable connector on there. We do sell a couple of them, so it's the same or the similar type, believe it or not, that here, let me nope, I can get the right one. It is the same one that is included in the SCU20. I don't have my SCU20 right in front of me, but it's the same type of pin on there. Now you can't use the SCU20 on it, but like if you, for example, if you wanted to connect it to wires X for some reason, or you needed a pin plug on there, you can get that 10-pin mini DIN style plug. All the dealers sell it out there as an accessory. There's a couple of versions of it actually. So there's one where it's like the 10-pin to the wires. There's 10-pin to 10-pin. So whatever your choice is.
So remind me what an SCU20 does.
So the SU20 is the cable that plugs into the back of the 100, 400, and 300 and goes to a USB-A type connector. And that's what you need for setting it up in that PDN functionality. So if you just want to use the radio to connect into wires X. So I know I've had a lot of people say, well, hey, can I use that on there and stuff like that? Well, no, that's for the PDN functionality and programming, that kind of thing like that on there. So it's not compatible, but that data port is there for you to use.
Good. Okay. Yeah. I actually want to do a video because I remember I told you, I think it was in the 6000 that went the announcement video for this radio. I have my FTM 100 still. I haven't plugged it up in probably a year and a half or so, but I have it. And I always thought that after you guys did that firmware update to allow it to become its own node where you didn't have to use the HRI 200 to plug it into wires X, I thought, that's what I'm going to do with that FTM 100. I'm going to update the firmware on it, which I haven't done yet. And that's kind of a chore from what I've read on that model. On that model is a little bit of a chore, but that's what I'm gonna do. I want to mount it here in the shack and do that and plug it into the computer and just use it as a full-time wires X node. So good. So I'll have to get one of those SCUs, which is cool. That's fine. Okay, so we've got 3. Is that 3 or 4? This lighting, my lighting is up there, so when I hold the radio there, that kind of blocks this. You can't see inside of it very well. So we've got 3 different ports in here. I like the fact that the control port, let's see. I lost my pen. Oh, there it is. My pointer. I'm going to use this as a pointer. This control port here is looks like an RJ45 type connector. And then the microphone port is there, which is RJ11, so you can't really mess the two up. I mean, I guess you could put the 11 into the bigger one, but I don't think it's going to mess anything up. But you can't both in at the same time. You're going to notice something's wrong.
Right. And yeah, different sizes.
Right. Exactly. And then you've got this looks like mini USB, old style USB port there, and that says data. So explain what's this mini USB for?
That's going to be for firmware updates, anything that we need to change on the radio to, obviously we're at the age of computers and stuff where we, you can make little changes if you want to through a firmware update instead of, a hardware update. So just very similar to like how the 300 was and on there, that opening there is for, and there's a, what do you say? I think it's a USB-A to my, I'm trying to think what that's called. Is that called the mini USB style? Yeah, I think it's considered mini USB.
This one's mini USB. And then the really thin one that's popular today is micro USB.
I remember that as the BlackBerry USB. That's
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the BlackBerry USB is the mini USB. I actually worked for BlackBerry at one very, very dark period in time in my life. No, I'm just kidding. It was actually a great company to work for a short period of time. The darkest part of it is that's where I met Frank. So home share of regrets.
That makes sense.
So, Frank's in the chat somewhere too. So, well, okay, good. So that's firmware updates, which I'm told on this one are much easier than some of the previous. Well, of course, this one's not really a Fusion radio. I think it was the Fusion radios that had the challenging firmware updates when the FTM 400 was first released, which I think you guys solved with the FTM 300, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Correct. So like if you look below that, so what we did on the 100 and the 400, there you actually had to flip a little dip switch kind of internally in there. You had to take off the cap. On the 300 and the 6000 here, you'll see very micro below the USB port, right below it towards the bottom. You'll see, because there's even the writing on there. The writing on there will say normal or update. So it's a tiny little just flick of like a pin or a toothpick, and then you're good to go.
Yeah, I don't know if you can get that. I don't know if the camera will focus. Yeah, there it is.
Yep.
So right there, it says It says update right there, and it says normal right there. So that little dip switch that's beneath the mini USB is you can't see that in the camera, but it's down there.
Yep.
And that way it's sunken in there. That way you don't hit it by mistake, and that's a good idea.
Correct. So, and there is a reason to that. When you do a firmware update, you're writing to a saved or a secure portion of the radio. And the reason we have it set up that way is that unlike, other radios and stuff, if you lose power, the computer connection goes down, computer resets, whatever, you run a big, strong chance of your radio being bricked. And then it's no good. Right. Then you got to send it back to manufacturer. When you do that, you actually lock out the radio. So you kind of protect yourself.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. All right. Well, let's see. I don't have a power cable with me. I usually have one of those. And I did some cleanup in the shack, and of course, every time I clean something now, I can't find anything. So let's. I'm going to put this together and fire it up real quick. So if there's anything you want to show us or tell us about while I do that, feel free to take the floor for a minute.
Nice thing about it is that you have what's listed as kind of the data port on there. So what you could do with here is this is how if you ever have to update the control head's going to be the updating right on the side there. Nice big kind of on there. Once again, if you attach that T bracket to the back of the control head, there's a nice big size screw on there for you. You can do it that way with the T. Otherwise, like I said, it's the SMB34, I think. I really have to take a look. I probably shouldn't give a part number out, but that's one of the accessories that's actually out there that you can use for doing the control or the suction cup mounted on there. And I'm just trying to look on my notes here that I have real quick for the whole training on there. And of course, they're never easy to find when you're looking for it. But that's what you can actually go ahead and purchase on there. It's a suction cup mount. Otherwise, I know people personally that have actually made their own fabricated bracket using that screw set on there, and it works. I
don't particularly care for the suction cup mount. And the main reason for that is because I have like 5 or 6 radios in my truck, and I don't want suction cups all over the windshield or wherever you end up putting them. So I want something that's a little bit more out of the way than a bunch of suction cups on the windshield. So I typically will not use that that way. Am I putting that? Oh, it's upside down. That's why. If I would read, look where I'm going here. So.
And while you're doing that, just a couple things too. So the DTMF microphone is a standard microphone that does come with it. We do make an actual regular microphone. That's the MH42C6J. So it's basically like if you don't want a DTMF microphone, you want more of like a conventional LMR kind of radio microphone, that's the option for you. Once again, the BU4 is the Bluetooth board for it. The SSM BT10, that's the Bluetooth headset we have for it. The mic extension kit is the MEK-5. I just gave the wrong number. It's the MEK-5. That's the new one.
Okay.
The control cable that comes with it, the separate one, or I should say the one that comes with it is 10 feet. But if you need a longer one, we actually sell a 20-foot cable if you want to buy an actual cable on there. But more importantly, the data cables. So we sell 3 of them right now. So we sell the 10-pin, we call it MDIN 10, so mini DIN 10 pin. And the CT163, that goes from the 10-pin to a 6-pin and D-sub-9 connector. So I know a lot of people that use that as a link radio are going to use it like All-Star, and they want a DB9 connector on there. Get that cable. Otherwise, they do make the CT164, which is 10-pin to 6-pin. And then they make the 10-pin to open, which is a CT167. And that's sometimes the one that I will purchase and use, especially if I'm going to be experimenting on some of the other radios. I've made some gateways out of them with other modes and other things like that on there. So those are those 3 cables for you.
Good. Okay. Now the microphone extension cable. I don't remember the number you said, but is it the same one that the FTM 300 uses?
Yes, that would be the same one that the 300 uses. You can use the older ones on there too. So if you have an MEK2, which really the difference is that if you look at the interface for where the extension cable would plug into the microphone, there was the square one that had an 8-pin DIN style on there, and then that plugged into the current microphones would plug into it. That is if you had like an old FT 2200 or 2400. We're talking old school stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what that was for. But now that most people aren't using it, we upgraded that interface on there, so you kind of, it's like almost like a Y adapter now.
Ah. Okay.